is don't grab them by the mouth. They have very sharp teeth. It's a very nice salmon. It'll go around 12, 15 pounds. Look at all the eggs coming out. Big female. That's what they're here to do, is to spawn. It's a legal hook right in the mouth, and that's one thing you have to be careful with, is that if it isn't a legal hook, you got to turn them loose. And as you can see, it's right in the mouth. Good hook. Good hookup. Nice fish. Real nice fish. All right, that's one for today. Limit is 2, and it has to be a legal hookup. If it's not, if it's a snag, then what you got to do is you got to turn them loose. It's a nice fish. All right, let's go back out and do it again. Well, welcome to today's Western Angler. I'm your host, Fred Boliba, and today we're going to be out doing some salmon fishing just below the Nimbus Dam at Folsom Lake in Sacramento on the American River. Today we're going to be using a setup which is called a bead and a hook setup. So all you have is a couple of fluorescent orange, red beads to represent the roe, and then on the end I have a laser sharpened red fluorescent hook. And you can see the guys are lined up behind me fishing for salmon. The limit here is 2 fish and any size. So let's go do it. And one thing is that when you're crossing like this water, you got to be very careful. This is real slippery rocks. Another thing I want to tell you is that you can use 2 or 3 different setups here. You can be using spinning gear like I have, or you see some of the guys with a level wind. But there's no preference, just whatever you like the best. I have about 15-pound test, and I'm sure they're using 20, 25, 30-pound tests. As you're going to see in today's show, these guys are going to be catching some big salmon. Hopefully I'll be able to hook onto one for you too. So let's get out there. You can see that the line forms from my right, goes all the way down to my left. And what you see is, when you see a guy catching a fish, what's going to happen is he's going to pull out, and he'll either take it behind the whole line or in front, and then try to pull it right inside of space. Get them in shallow water. It's all catch and bring it right on in and beach it. Another thing is, this is very, very highly watched by the game wardens, so you have to make sure that you have a mouth catch. You can't snag the fish. So as soon as you see it snagged on the outside of the gill plate or in the back, you have to turn it loose. It has to be a catch in the mouth. It has to be a legal catch. And you don't know who's out here fishing. There's must be 100 guys out here fishing. And it's like this in any of the salmon streams in California. Fish a lot, so you have to be very careful. So you have to make sure that you have your license exposed, make sure that you have barbless hooks, and it's a mouth catch, so you have to catch the fish in the mouth. You see one over here, a guy got one over here in line here. Lots of snags in this water. You'll be losing lots of hookups, lots of snags, lots of snags. Water's not too deep, but this is the Nimbus hatchery downstream from us, and so they can only go to the base of the dam, and that's it. Or up, there's one right here. This guy's got one right next to us here. Or they can go back down, and what they'll do is they'll open up the gate of the hatchery, and they'll take the salmon so that they can release next spawn. They'll really be releasing the fish. So the object here is just to have about a 10-foot leader with a sinker and just toss it out there. and just let it drift down. And as you're drifting, you're feeling for the hit. One thing that's a necessity out here when you're stream fishing like this, just like if you would be for trout, is you got to make sure that you're wearing the right equipment, which would be the waders or the neoprenes like I have on, because you're going to be a long time in this water and it gets very cold, especially this time of the year. It's late October and the water is cold. And you just let it go down, and then you just pick it up, just like if you're stream trout fishing. You just pick it up, reel it on in, cast upstream, and just let it drift on down. Whoa, nice one out there. You can do it 2 or 3 different ways. Tried a couple of ways of just regular drifting down without doing anything. And then you can bump and run, just bump it and entice them to hit it. You just try 2 or 3 methods until something works. See what entices them to hit. Fish are all up and down in front of us here, and they're even be coming in right behind us here. The fish will just be coming upstream. Remember, they're used to going upstream as far as they can to spawn. So they don't know that this is the end of the line. So they're still working. They're still trying to go upstream to spawn. Now remember, the salmon are different than steelhead. The salmon are, once they come upstream and spawn, they die. So along the edge here are a lot of dead carcasses of salmon, male and female, because once they spawn, they will die. So all these fish that you see coming up this stream in this water will all die within a week or so, because once they have spawned, that's it. Their cycle is over with. Then the eggs hatch, and then the fingerlings will go downstream, and then they'll come back up. These fish are salmon, like steelhead. They go down the ocean and then they come back up a certain time of year. Look at, there's one right in between here. You can just see the tops of the fins of the fish just swimming right on by. You can see I'm only in knee-deep water, and you can see the fish just coming in, just in abundant right now. This is the time of the year. It's the end of the run. In fact, where we're at from the bridge, where the hatchery, Nimbus hatchery, upstream, it closes October 31st. So then you can fish on downstream at a couple of designated areas on the American. But this area is only open for a short period of time in October, and then it shuts down. Okay. Now I have a special setup here for these snags. I have a rubber band setup that is on my sinker, and then I have a piece of surgical tubing so that it bounces in the rocks and it doesn't get stuck. Not only that, instead of losing your rig, your whole hookup, what will happen is that when you get a snag, you just keep on pulling it and you'll bust a rubber band. So the only thing you're going to lose is, of course, your sinker, and you won't lose your beads, your swivel, or your hook. Like that one just jumped right here in front of me. So that way you're only losing a portion of your rig, which is your sinker. Whoa, one right there. They're running around, I say 12 to 25 pounds. That one there looks like maybe even a 7-pounder there that boy just caught. But they're pretty good size. Even that is a good fight for anybody in this water. You're going to see them really horsing them in, and that's why the gear really counts on what you got to pull them in out of this swift water. And hopefully here in a minute we'll hook onto one. What you need to do is carry that weight as high as you can. You got about a 10-foot leader, about the same length as your pole for a leader. So from the swivel to your hook is about the same length as your pole would be. So you have a great distance of leader between your swivel and your hook, so that you can present your hook by itself without the weight or anything in the way there. So you want your weight as high as possible at all times. So when I have a rubber band on like this and I do hit a snag or a rock, then what happens is it scoots on down close to the hook, and it doesn't give the hook the right drift. So what you want is you want to present your weight and let it hit the ground bouncing while your hook is up, presented as bait, as high off the rocks as possible, so you don't get snagged up. Just like that. Looks like we got two on over here on this secondary line here. We got one guy, he's got one on a red cap over here. I don't know if you can see him from where you're at. And then the second guy has got one also. One thing too, for these fish here, the size that they are, you need something stout. You need a good pole that's going to take the abuse once you get one on. So a small trout pole is going to be a little too small for this type of action. As you've seen in the film, and catching another hookup, another snag. These fish are pretty good size, so you don't want to trust a small trout pole and 6-pound test, that's for sure, because it'll beat you up. Oh, here we go, I got it off. They'll just run with it. This rig that I'm using here, I used last year here, and I caught one just the downstream where I am now, and he took me all the way to the bridge and lost it. Never did see him. Well, I just lost my sinker. So that was a good sized snag. Fish on. Fish on. Let me get around you. Switch hands with a pole. Switch hands with a pole. Put it on the outside. Then let me go around you. There you go. Fish on. Fish on. All right, now the only thing is we got one on is trying to figure out if it's a legal hook. Looks like it. It looks like it. It's coming right at me. Fish on. Come on, you want to come upstream? Let's go. Now the trick is beaching them with the head up. Come on. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Little more. Little more. Little more. Well, people, that's American river salmon. Nice female. It's about 12, 15 pounds. Let me show you, it's a legal hook. What I was using was the good strong fish. Let me get a hold of him here. Ah! One thing you want to do is don't grab them by the mouth. They have very sharp teeth. It's a very nice salmon. It'll go around 12, 15 pounds. Look at all the eggs coming out. Big female. That's what they're here to do, is to spawn. It's a legal hook. Right in the mouth, and that's one thing you have to be careful with, is that if it isn't a legal hook, you gotta turn them loose, and as you can see, it's right in the mouth. Good hook. Good hookup. Nice fish. Real nice fish. All right, that's one for today. Limit is 2, and it has to be a legal hookup. If it's not, if it's a snag, then what you gotta do is you gotta turn them loose. It's a nice fish. All right, let's go back out and do it again. I can see them all in here and all in here. They're just running all up and down just in front of you. There's about 7 or 8 of them right in here. You can see them. These are all bucks, all males. You can see they're all scarred up. The heads on them are all scarred up with the skin off. There's a big male. They're all right in front of us. Just fish on. Fish on. Oh! Off. Probably bent the hook on that one. Probably bent the hook on that one. No, still good. Yeah, he got out, but Everything's good. Oh, God. 2 on. Got it. Cut in here and get them out of that water. Bring them in. Bring them in one of these holes here and get them out of that fast water. They'll take you right on down the current. Eat them. Walk them in here. Back up. Go around these gentlemen here and get them in the shallows. Fish on. Yep, fish on. All right, I got that movable snag. I got somebody, but fish on. Fish on. No, you're not going to get out there. I won't let you. Here he comes. Fish on. See if it's a good catch. That's right. Let me go across here. Fish on. Looks like a good hookup. Looks like a good hookup. Yep. Oh, you got me? There it is. Nice looking hen. Well, that makes about 4. A couple lost, a couple caught. Nice looking fish. Well, I think we're going to call it a day. I want to, before I end the show, I want to show you the rig that I was using I want you to also mention that it is a 2-fish catch, and any size, and you have to make sure that they're hooked. You have to have a legal hook, and you can see that it's right in its mouth. The rig that I was using, which everybody uses, you gotta be careful when you take these hooks out because they have lots of teeth. Lots of teeth. It's a nice looking fish. Okay, I'm gonna show you the hookup that I'm using. I have a red fluorescent barbless red colored hook. It's around a size 2. And I have beads running up. I have about the length of the pole, so it depends on the length of your pole that you're using. Depends on the length of the pole that you're using for your leader. So if you have a 12-foot pole or 8-foot pole or a 6-foot pole, then that's the size leader that you're going to be using. Now you have all your beads. You have the fluorescent orange, the red, and then I have the regular fluorescent, which are the white color. You also could use a bluish. What you're trying to do is resemble the salmon eggs or the eggs that they're laying. So it's a salmon egg. So this distinguishes between different stages of salmon eggs. Of course, the white ones or the blue ones are the old moldy salmon eggs, and then your fluorescent are the fresh. So you want to represent a cluster of salmon eggs, because that's what they feed on. They feed on the salmon eggs that are being laid from the hens. Okay? Now, again, you have your leader, the size of your pole, and then you have a box swivel, or in this instance I have a snap swivel. Your line goes your snap swivel, or if you use a barrel swivel, you have just the 2 ends. You hook your leader on your barrel swivel, and then your sinker. Now, I have a special hook up here that I like to use in this water here because there's lots of snags. I mean, you're going to lose lots of rigs, so make sure you have lots of equipment with you. Your swivels, your hooks, your beads. I hook a rubber band onto one end of my barrel swivel and then onto my sinker. And also you need various sizes of sinkers. It just depends on the current or the swiftness of the water or the depth of the water. This is a 1-ounce pencil weight. It's hooked on the other end of my rubber band so that when my sinker gets stuck in the rocks, you can break it loose. And you'll save your beads and your hooks. So the only thing you have to replace is your weight. Again, that's only 90%. 10% of the time you're going to hook up on your hook and you're going to lose the bottom half. But that's okay because you're going to save one or the other. Either you're going to lose your hook or you're going to lose your sinker. You won't lose both. So that's the setup I have. I also have, you can use 15, 20, 20-pound test, heavy-duty rod. You've seen in today's show lots of people hooking up on fish, losing fish, snagging up. But I'll tell you what, when you catch your 2 fish at the end of the day like today, it's all worthwhile. Well, I'd like to leave you here right now at the banks of the American River, which is off of Highway 50 and Hazel in Sacramento, out of Rancho Cordova. And as you can see behind me, we're right below the Nimbus Dam, fishing the American River for salmon. Until next time, this is Fred Boliba wishing you good luck and good fishing to you. Fish on! Fish on here. Now I'll work my way to shore here, get them out of this fast water. I hope it's a good hookup. Feels like it. I got him head first, trying to come upstream. Bring him over. Looks like a good hookup. Oh, tangling up with another one. They're fighting here.